Well, good Monday morning to you. Welcome to our Monday morning live edition of Healthy Living South Mississippi. Live healthy, be healthy with Doctors Jim and Janine Fox of Doctors Nutrition, located on Cowan Road in Gulfport, just south of Pass Road. This is our Monday morning live show, which will give you the opportunity to call in and ask the doctors questions about anything regarding today's topic, or something else maybe over the weekend that you thought about, maybe an issue that you're dealing with, or someone that you know is dealing with, and you'd like the doctors sound off about it and give them their opinion or their thoughts. Anyway, but do give us a call, 896-0713, 800-349-0713. That is, the numbers are on your screen. Amino acids is what the subject is about today, and how our body uses amino acids to form the proteins which builds everything from muscles and bones and skin and hair and this and that. So amino acids are pretty important to us.
Yeah, that they are. Our body can't survive without them. You know, that's why it's so important to eat a variety of proteins, you know, and meats and plants and so on, because you get different amino acids from different sources, and we need a variety. I mean, because our body can, you know, can take those amino acids, and like you said, it can make muscles, it can make hair, it can make, you know, pretty much every organ in our body, heart, everything. And the heart it's very specific to have certain amino acids like carnitine and so on for the heart. Now, your body can make carnitine, so it's not one of the essential amino acids. But you get a lot of the essential amino acids from your meats and so on.
Well, we have you have essential and non-essential amino acids,
right?
But they both play an important part,
right?
They do
in your health.
Even the non-essential, it's not that they're really not essential for health. It's just that the body can actually produce them. I mean, the essential ones the body actually cannot produce. You have to eat them in your diet. The one they call non-essential are still essential for health,
right?
But you can produce them.
Like you know, we just mentioned carnitine for the heart. It's really specific for the heart, and it's good for the brain too. Don't get me wrong. Got to have it for the brain as well. But our body can take the essential amino acid lysine, and if we've got lysine and some B6 and some other things and cofactors, the liver can say, okay, I can make this, and it takes that lysine and makes it into carnitine, in which our body needs a lot of.
Right,
you know,
and carnitine is essential for muscles. I mean, the heart's a muscle, but you have other muscles in the body too, and it actually works at the mitochondrial level. It gives energy to the mitochondria. So it's really used in energy, and a lot of people, you know, hear of even carnitine and weight loss, and I mean, it helps you burn fat.
Well, I would think
better.
that bodybuilders would be important for bodybuilders too, or you know, people who exercise on a regular basis.
All the amino acids are actually,
essential for your muscle.
Well,
growth.
yeah, I mean, you know, anybody that's working out a lot, you know, the more you work out, the more you exercise of any kind, you need that protein just to rebuild the muscles, because as you exercise, you tear down muscle, and the body has to rebuild it, and you need those amino acids to do that. So it's really good. You know, you want to get in a variety. I can't stress that enough. You know, variety of sources. You know, don't just eat chicken. Right. Okay, throw in some fish.
Well, what about okay? You mentioned that. Don't just eat chicken, which you know I love.
I like my chicken.
I'm a country boy. I eat everything. So sometimes too much of some good things.
Well, that's okay.
This is true. But you know, there are those that are vegetarians.
Right.
So what do they do? I mean, if they're not going to eat meat, don't even eat chicken. They won't eat chicken. They won't eat beef. They won't eat fish. A lot of them.
It depends on what.
You get more vegan.
Some vegetarians will eat fish, but the vegans won't. So it just depends on how strict they are. And honestly, it's hard for them. There's a lot of things they end up lacking because of not.
You have to eat a big
proteins.
variety if you're going to be vegan or even vegetarian. You need to eat a lot of different plants. You can't just pick. Okay, I'm going to eat broccoli. You know, you get so many people get in what we call the monoculture. In other words, one or two foods, and that makes up their diet. You know,
right?
And like we just talked about chicken. Okay, you want a little more than just chicken. Fish is good, seafood, and well, we live in a place that's loaded with seafood, so take advantage of it. But even if you're trying to eat, you know, vegetarian and so on, a variety. You have to have a variety of plants, because the plants don't need near as many amino acids as animals do.
Well, I had a friend of mine one time that was so vegetarian or vegan that she said she wouldn't eat anything that had a face.
Right.
Which I could never figure out why she wouldn't eat oysters, because
they don't have a face.
They don't have a face. They got lips, but they don't have a face. So
that's it. That's it. There you go.
But that's the way. But she said she got her proteins through eating a lot of legumes.
Legumes,
You
beans,
can-
and so on.
yeah, but-
It helps.
And even nuts. I mean, nuts
yes.
you're going to get because they have
Right.
protein. So you know you can get the amino acids, like you said. You just have to do a lot of different ones, and you have to do a lot of it. And a lot of
Yeah.
vegans, especially, do usually do some of the plant protein powders in order to get a high enough amount of protein.
That variety.
Because it's hard
yeah.
to get the high amount. People always, we get a question constantly: how much protein do I need? You know, I mean, and I always say, kind of a rule of thumb is take your body weight divided by 2.2. And whatever that comes up to,
That gives you a kilo.
that gives you, yeah, it's a kilogram. Yeah.
Okay.
And you divide it by 2.2, and that gives you an amount. So let's say, I mean, we'll take 100 pounds, for instance, although that's nobody weighs 100 pounds.
Who
Let's
weighs
take
100 pounds? Okay.
Yeah, nobody weighs. There's a
Try,
few.
try 220 pounds. That's more I like it. Okay.
I don't know.
That's
Teresa worked
That's
there.
Well, that's true.
220 pounds divided by 2.2 is 100 grams of protein.
Right.
That's easy. He was like, for
I'm going
math's
for easy
sake,
math,
for
okay?
math's sake.
Okay, because I'm right in that ballpark right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, and then so you say you have to have 100 grams of protein. And so you just want to make
per
sure
day?
per day.
Per day.
Okay.
And that is not for building. That is actually to maintain
Maintenance.
the muscle that you have.
Wow.
And so a lot of people think that they're getting enough protein, and you start looking and they might get 20 grams a day. And what happens is if you don't get your protein and get for your amino acids that the body has to have, what happens is the body will start cannibalizing the muscles. It'll start eating away the muscles in order to get it. It'll break down the muscle to get what it needs from it because muscles have protein.
And it's and our body's pretty smart. It says, hey, I got to keep things like the heart and the
Yeah.
brain, all that stuff going.
So the rest of you's gonna suffer.
So the rest of you's going to
Exactly.
suffer a little bit. You know, we get a lot of times. I get a lot of people come in and they talk about hair.
Hair is one
especially
big
a
thing,
biggie.
yeah.
You know, and
I wish I could talk about hair.
Well, we can talk about that. Let's don't. Right. The thing about hair, if you're going to, if you have to have hair, if that's your thing, you need to get the rest of the body really healthy because your body is thinking about this. The hierarchy in the brain saying, I got to keep that heart going. I got to keep that brain going. I got to keep all these other essential things going. Hair, the least of my worries. So the brain says, I don't care about your hair.
Yeah.
I've got to keep
So that's
everything.
what happened.
That's what happens. See.
Well,
So it's,
male pattern baldness is a little
That's
different.
different,
But,
yeah,
that's more genetics. But protein deficiencies, and when you talk about amino acids, you have to talk about proteins.
It is
But
protein,
protein
yeah.
deficiency does make hair loss, and a lot of people never think about that. They start losing their hair, and they always say, "Oh, it must be my thyroid, or it must be
Something.
It must be something else, or an iron deficiency." Actually, protein deficiency.
Wow.
And because it is essential for the amino acids in order to have healthy hair. But your body, like he said, it's always going to take it for the essential things first. So if you don't have an abundance of the amino acids, it's going to, the hair is, like he said, least of the problems because you can live without hair, right?
Yeah, you
Prime
can.
example, right?
You just got to wear a lot of sunscreen.
Live without hair.
Anyway, stay with us. So we're taking your phone calls live this morning, 896-0713, 800-349-0713. Talking about amino acids this morning, but you have another question for the doctors. Please feel free to call in. And welcome back to our Monday morning live edition of Healthy Living South Mississippi. Live healthy, be healthy with Doctors Jim and Janine Fox of Doctors Nutrition, located on Pass Road in Gulfport, located on Cowan Road in Gulfport, south of Pass Road. Get my roads messed up this morning. Anyway,
It's Monday.
It's Monday. They're open 10 to 5:30 Monday through Friday, 11 to 2 on Saturdays. Jim and Janine are there on Monday, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, and Dr. Mays is there on Wednesdays and Fridays. And a great staff of people. Great thing is we always like to reiterate is you don't need an appointment, and there's no cost for a consultation. So be sure, you might have to wait a few minutes when you go in, but it's well worth the visit, as well, especially the fact that try doing that in another doctor's office. It's not going to work. But we're talking about amino acids this morning. But again, if you have something else on your mind that you'd like to ask the doctors a question about, please feel free to call. The phone lines are 896-0713 or 800-349-0713. But we're talking about the essential amino acids in our bodies and why they're so important to us. What are some of the issues, the problems if we don't have it? You said that the non-essential amino acids, the body can pretty much make itself.
If it has all the essentials.
If it has all the essentials.
Right. It can still-
And other cofactors
and other
like vitamins and
cofactors.
so on.
Vitamins play a big role in the production of amino acids too, especially in the B vitamin family.
B vitamins are real
B
important.
vitamins are very important, and we know that stress depletes B vitamins. So stress can also affect amino acid production. So
And we've talked about rebuilding muscles, and that's a biggie, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
That's a pretty big thing. But the other thing that's kind of big is what we call neurochemistry. For instance, the chemicals that make our brain and nervous system function like it's supposed to. Real important to have amino acids for this, because that's the building blocks. See, these amino acids are building blocks for things like serotonin, GABA, all these other neurochemicals, dopamine, all those things, and they're very, very essential for proper brain function. So.
It makes a big difference in depression and anxiety. And I mean, when you start looking at it, a lot of people have heard of tryptophan, which tryptophan is actually in the, it's one of the essential amino acids.
That's why turkey's so good.
Tryptophan.
Well, that's the stuff that makes you go to sleep.
Yeah,
too.
it can make you sleepy, and that's why a lot of people take it at bedtime, but it's important in serotonin production. And then you even have a metabolite, 5-hydroxytryptophan, is also another step to serotonin.
Right.
So you have these things that help serotonin. Well, when your serotonin's low, you tend to get depressed, you tend to be a little anxious, there's all
That's why
kinds
it's
of
good to
things.
get out in the
You can be a
sunshine
little
sometime.
obsessive,
Well, yeah,
compulsive,
yeah.
That helps serotonin, but you still have to have the amino acids in order to produce it. Okay, so you still have to have the amino acids. Sunlight alone won't do it. You have to have those amino acids. And then like another big amino acid that we use a lot is tyrosine. Tyrosine is an amino acid that is one of the things that can turn to dopamine. And dopamine is kind of one of your feel-good hormones. And when you start looking, tyrosine
That's why it's called dopamine.
Yeah, it's even important in norepinephrine and epinephrine.
Little medical humor there.
We didn't name it.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
We didn't name it. And then you have something called phenylalanine. And phenylalanine is important in also making like norepinephrine. So, I mean, there's so many things that the amino acids that affect the brain chemistry and affect, nowadays, a big thing, attention deficit. If you're lacking in some of the amino acids the body needs, you can actually have very big attention problems.
Let's talk about that for just a minute.
Yeah.
Back when I was a kid, went to school and everything, they said that somebody put a picture on Facebook one day about, back whenever I was a kid in school, when they didn't call it ADD, they called it daydreaming. If you're sitting in class and you just kind of wander off, it's daydreaming.
Yeah.
Do you feel like, and I personally, I feel strongly about this, a lot of the processed foods and all the stuff that we've got and everything has contributed to more and more of ADD.
Definitely.
Oh, no doubt about it.
In kids and children and a lot of adults.
If you think about it, if they eat all this processed food, they're probably not getting a lot of the amino acids that are important in the brain chemistry that you need for attention. And if you, like he always says, when we have lysine in a bottle, they've gotten that lysine a lot of times from the food that's processed. They take the amino acids out of it and sell it to other people to sell as a supplement. And it's not in there anymore.
Wow. So when you buy that packaged
processed food, that's why we always stress don't eat it.
Okay. Mac from Biloxi is called. He's having trouble with his rotator cuff. Wants to know if you have any tips to help.
It depends on if you have some of the complete tears, unfortunately.
No.
Surgery is one of the only things to actually help it. But now if it's just a rotator cuff and you've stretched it or pulled it or, injured it in a way, for one, rehab. I always tell people get the proper exercises and make sure you do them.
Right.
Because rehab does make a difference when it comes to muscles.
And
also,
nutrients, too.
Proper nutrients. We're talking about amino acids today, and there's a lot of amino acids that helps repair muscles. Glutamine is a big one, and glutamine is probably 60% of all your amino acids in your body is probably glutamine. So there's a lot of things you can do for repair, and so there's things to repair muscles, but at the same time you have to exercise them properly, and if it's torn, you have to have that tear fixed.
That was one of the things that with me going to the gym that you put me on, the little container thing, put a little bit of that glutamine in with your after a workout. So it does help
to repair
any kind of muscle problems or anything that you've done.
Carnitine's
right.
carnitine.
One of the things that we've got, matter of fact, one of the things we've got on special this week is a compound, and it's just a blend of amino acids called GHR. And GHR stands for growth hormone release, because that's what it does. These amino acids in there actually help.
There it is right there.
Oh, there it is. Okay, actually help your body release the growth hormone, and that's what repairs muscles.
Right.
Okay, so that's a really good one. It's got the main ingredient, glutamine. It's got some other things in it too, but the main ingredient is glutamine, and it's a really good
And if you increase
combo.
that growth hormone, you definitely help healing.
Right.
And so a lot of people do growth hormone products for healing, and others do it for anti-aging. Because anytime you can increase your growth hormone, you can actually help anti-aging as well. But it is something we usually a lot of times recommend right before you go to bed, even because
it's
your
great for
growth
that.
hormone is released at night anyway when you sleep, and that's when you heal. So we usually recommend it right before you go to bed on an empty stomach. And a lot of amino acids are best on an empty stomach. The free-formed amino acids, we should say. Of course, when you're eating protein, you're eating it with food.
So you wake up in the morning, you're an inch taller.
Well, it's not necessarily like
There you
that.
go.
Not that kind of growth hormone.
But since we talked about our specials, we might just want to go ahead and talk about the other one that was up there, too.
Yeah, the other one is called Amino Flow, and it's a combination of amino acids that are real important for something we call ENOS, or endothelial nitric oxide, in synthesis. And our body makes this nitrogen oxide, nitric acid, if you will. And what it does is help stimulate or dilate blood vessels. And it's extremely good for cardiovascular health and so on. And this is a combination that we put together that helps tremendously in that respect. I mean, it's a combination of things like your arginine, citrulline, which is kind of a time-released arginine. Our body breaks that down into arginine and so on. And it's got some lysine, glycine, proline, all that in it. Really good combination. It works a lot, helps with blood pressure issues in some of these people that are having difficulties with it. It's very good for that. ED, those kind of things.
Yeah.
Because ED is typically a
blood
nitric
flow- a
oxide.
blood flow
yeah.
issue.
It's an endothelial problem,
Okay.
so yeah.
All right, we'll be back with our little final segment here this morning on our Monday morning live edition of Healthy Living South Mississippi. Live healthy, be healthy. And welcome back. It is our Monday morning live edition of Healthy Living South Mississippi. Live healthy, be healthy with Drs. Jim and Janine Fox of Doctors Nutrition, located on Cowan Road in Gulfport, just south of Pass Road. Is our final segment of the morning, and the phone lines are still open at 896-0713, 800-349-0713. We had a caller that called in and said he used a deodorant that burned his skin, and it's not clearing up. He is, I believe, went to a couple of doctors already and has had a little success in clearing it up. Do you have any suggestions?
Oh, one of the first things you want to, okay, this caller needs to be very, very, very aware of what he puts on his skin, because some of us are just very sensitive to these things. And there's a lot of chemicals used in some of these, what we call beauty products, like deodorant and so on, face creams, etc. You have to be very careful with them. Some of us have some pretty bad reactions to them. It probably burned the skin, and, here's one of the first things we tell you to do. You can't be putting anything on that same area that might continue the burning process. So for instance, whatever it's a deodorant, and most people go, okay, they're going to use a deodorant. So what are you using now? Because that may still be contributing to what's going on.
Right, because even you might have used something before that didn't bother you, but now that you have this problem and it was a chemical in that deodorant that probably did it in the first place, if there's even lower amounts of that same chemical in another deodorant, then you might still have a reaction. We do have a lot of the natural deodorants that do not have the chemicals. They're not ever antiperspirants. They're actually only deodorants, and they do have some of the soothing things to it. So actually, it's probably an allergic reaction to something that was in that deodorant.
Why not antiperspirants?
Because of the aluminum.
It's aluminum.
Oh.
Yeah, all antiperspirants have aluminum, so all your natural deodorants are not antiperspirants. I always tell people that. It actually helps with your odor, because a lot of them have the natural antibacterials in them.
Right.
But they're the natural ones, more like lavender or tea tree or neem or something like that. That's a natural antibacterial, which kills bacteria, which is what bacteria under the arms is one of the reasons you have the smell.
And something like that.
But it's not going to keep you from sweating under the arms.
No,
Yeah.
no. But something like that neem, that and the neem oil is good for that. There's a oil that we've used a lot for skin damage over the years is rosehip seed oil.
Rosehip oil. There's things that can actually help irritants.
Aloe.
Even his wife works at a place in Ocean Springs that they sell natural cosmetic products, and he said there's a product that they use there that works really well for cuts and skin.
Algae butter.
Algae butter.
Algae butter.
We had a product that worked unbelievably for healing
I
up
use that on my
skin,
head.
and the company has discontinued it. So we are now looking at other things, and we are actually maybe talking to them about carrying some of the stuff. So there's things that you can apply. Call us directly, and we can maybe help you more.
Right.
And definitely don't be putting anything else that has chemicals and irritants on it. That's number one.
Number one.
Because if you keep irritating it, it's never going to heal.
Okay. We're here for today for you live, so we'll be here for a few more minutes. So you give us a call at 896, excuse me, 0713, 800-349-0713. Now, we will tell you next Monday, the show will not be live. It's going to be pre-recorded, but it will actually start a two-week series, or two-show series on herbs.
Right.
So if you've got those little herb gardens growing, or thinking about growing an herb garden, which are can be beneficial to you in many ways, we'll talk about that. But the Memorial Day, we will be back live. But next Monday's show will not be will be pre-recorded.
His vacation.
My vacation. So yeah,
I'm not sure what that is, but I understand that some people do those things. Vacation. I don't. It's a foreign concept. But
yeah. Well, hey.
Yeah.
But since we're doing the show taped next week, the weekend after is going to be a call-in show on herbals. So that way we can actually have a whole 30 minutes where you can call in and ask questions, because we always have so many questions on herbs.
And we'll, matter of fact, watch next Monday though, even though we won't be here live. Watch it because it's chock full of all kinds of great information for you. Those of you that are interested in, and we're talking about herbs like you grow.
Well, we're talking about herbs that you grow and then herbs that you take for medicinal reasons.
Exactly,
Yep.
and not the ones that you get in a little shaker thing that at the store, because sometimes they have a little they're processed and this and
You
that.
never know. Yeah.
You want them fresh, which and they're easy to grow. They really are.
We get questions a lot. Like I said, we get a lot of questions on herbs a lot, but amino acids are one thing that people just don't know much about, I find. Some of your bodybuilders have researched amino acids because it's important in muscle building, but otherwise people just don't even realize, like lysine. We use lysine a lot to suppress the herpes virus. It actually can keep any of the herpes viruses from replicating. So, it has so many properties in amino acids. It's not just building muscle. No. It's not just neurotransmitters, but it's kind of all of them together. 20% of our body is made up of protein and amino acids. That's a lot.
Yeah, really.
And all of our DNA and RNA contains these as well.
Yeah.
So they're very, very important. And like I said, people don't even think about, like I said, when their hair starts thinning and they don't know why, they never think amino acids.
Right.
And that's something that you do want to think about, because we do get a lot of people that cosmetically, want to have things to help. So most of our hair, skin, and nail formulas, they do have your methionine. Sulfur-bearing amino acids are very important in hair. And if you ever burn hair, you'll see that it smells really bad because it has a lot of sulfur in it. And a lot of your sulfur in the body comes from the sulfur-bearing amino acids.
Now, whenever you do blood work, can the blood work tell how your amino acids?
Not necessarily. There are some urine tests, 24-hour urine tests, that can do some of the amino acid profiles. They get a little bit more expensive when you start testing every amino acid, but we can do it. We do have a specialty company that we use for our amino acid testing.
Sometimes it's a good idea, because a lot of times people aren't digesting, or they're not, or they're consuming it, but they're not digesting it properly.
What would be some of the signs that maybe you're not getting enough amino acids in your body?
It can be everything.
I mean, everything from mild depression, anxiety, hair growth, inability to build muscle, those kind of things.
Attention deficit.
Hair growth? Or hair growth, or
how fast it grows.
Oh, okay. I was going to say,
how fast
I'll cut mine out
and
it'll bring back hair.
No, unfortunately, the male pattern baldness is a little bit different than the protein deficiency hair loss. When people just start losing hair all over, and it's even important for the amino acids to help the follicle of the hair. So it goes into detail, not just the growth, but it helps the follicle. It helps all kinds of things. But the amino acids, just kind of pointed out, they're very important, which is why we stress that people do get their protein, and make sure you get adequate protein in your body.
One thing that a lot of the bodybuilders use a lot of things called the branched chain amino acids, and isoleucine, those kind of things, and they're good for muscle building. But if you're not doing that, if you're not building muscle, you're not working out pretty hard, I suggest not doing the branched chains, because the body uses those just like it would sugar. And that can actually cause you a little bit of an issue with sugar handling and so on. So,
all right. Well, thank you for joining us today. Again, we invite you to tune in next Monday. Again, the next Monday show will be pre-recorded, so we won't be taking your phone calls, but we will be talking about herbs and the great parts that they are, not only for your diet, but also for your health. So hope you have a great week, everyone, and we'll see you back live in 2 weeks.